Okay, so that was very helpful, the caucus that we had, because we can see now that what works best for you is you're moving the business to your new location is not contradictory to your maintaining the business, and what you need to maintain the business is not contrary to what she needs. So that's a different kind of agreement that we can work for. What works best for you and what works best for you are two different things, and that they work well together. So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's start with you this time, since we started with Sally before. What is it you think you need out of the business that y'all both started? What's the best thing to move you forward into your new business?
Cash.
Okay.
So I need as much as I can get from you, cash,
So
so I can start and succeed.
So you're saying you'd like to negotiate, your preference from these options that we came up with would be to negotiate a cash settlement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think that's fair, and that works for me. I have a limited amount of cash, but I'm very open to that.
Okay, so you feel like that would also work well for you?
Yes.
Okay, and that way you'd be able to keep your commitments that you have, is you'd be able to go forward as close to without change as possible.
Right.
Okay, well, let's talk about numbers. Did you have something in mind?
Yeah, I'm thinking if Sally's gonna buy out half of the equipment. So, and then she's gonna buy the recipe, like for about maybe $10,000, and the centerpiece, I'm thinking I'm gonna rent it to you for let's say 5,000 till you gonna have a business. If you're gonna sell the business or you're gonna pass it to your kids or grandkids or something, then you have to give it back to me, the centerpiece. So it's gonna be like
So the offer, pardon me. So the offer is $10,000 for the recipe,
Mm-hmm.
and $5,000 would be to a contract lease the centerpiece.
Yeah.
And how much would be for the
Half.
assets? Half of the value, which
Yeah.
the value was $15,000.
Mm-hmm.
So 7,500.
Yeah.
Okay. Her offer would be 17,500 plus the cost of the lease to lease the centerpiece, and that would give you everything that you have now.
I appreciate that, the fairness of what you're doing. I can't really afford to buy the recipe for $10,000. And so I think the alternative for me would be for you to just keep your recipe and I won't use it. And then I can settle with you on the centerpiece and the property.
Okay. So, what's your offer?
Well, on the centerpiece, when I was in caucus with Ms. Madell, we came up with an alternative that maybe we could make a replica so that you could keep the original in your family, but I would still have my logo piece. And that, I'm thinking that might cost me less than to buy or lease it from you for $5,000. So how about if you borrow it from you for a time and have a replica made, and I'd be willing to give you $1,000 to let me do that. And then I will ship it to you when I can have a replica made, and I'll pay whatever it costs for, I'm sure it's gonna cost me a couple thousand, I'm just guessing, if I hasn't to do that. So I could give you $10,000 cash now and have a replica made of the centerpiece and then pay to have that shipped back to you. And I won't use the recipe.
So it's 10,000 going to be for it's like a buying out everything?
For the sale, you said 70, the half of the equipment, and then the other $2,500 is for your efforts and your time and to allow me to make a replica of the piece.
So it's gonna be 10,000.
Yes. And I have that much in savings, I can give that to you in cash.
So what do you think? How do you feel about that?
I don't feel it's like a lot of money for me to start a new business, you know.
Well,
Can you give me a little bit more, at least like 5,000 more?
that is
No.
all I have in savings. And one thing that you need to realize, I understand you have to start over, but I'm already, if we agreed with 10,000 plus the cost it's gonna cost me to get the replica made. You know, I was in a business where I was making money. And now I'm out, I'm gonna be out as much money as you are basically when you start over. So because you moved, I'm starting over also.
No, you're not. You have a working business.
But I have to give you $10,000 cash that I didn't
Which
ever
is in
intend.
savings, it's not in a business.
Okay, but we have to get, I mean, that's the place where we're at now. We can't just keep everything the same because she's
Well-
moving and you're losing your partner, so, you know, we need to come up with something that
It's
works
all I
best for
have.
everyone,
10,000 is all I have. And
okay?
it's gonna completely wipe out my husband's and my savings. But it is all the money that I have.
But you have a working business, which is gonna bring money every day.
So will you.
Oh, no, I don't.
Well, you were telling me that you know how much the business makes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're both familiar with the
Mm-hmm.
spreadsheet from the business. So, does that sound reasonable to you?
I'm thinking, we can do that, but only for 15,000, not for 10. 10, it's nothing for me to start.
So that would be,
It's the tent is $5,000. You know, what is
But
gonna
I
leave me
own
with
half of that
5,000?
tent. I own half of that tent.
Yeah, I
So that's only
understand.
2,500 that's your half.
I understand, but I cannot buy it for 2,500. You know, if I'm gonna buy
Neither
only
can
the
I.
tent, it's gonna be 5,000.
I understand all of that, but neither can I. And you know how much I make in the
But I'm-
business. I have to hire somebody now
I understand,
I have to pay a
but
new
it's a
salary
working business.
for the work that you did. Now I have to pay someone. And you know how long it takes me to make $10,000 profit? A long time by myself. And it's really all I have.
You know, you keeping the name, the business which is working, you keeping the logo, I mean, everything.
You're keeping the
place.
recipe, Tina.
The recipe is for
You
the
valued it
start.
at $10,000 and you're keeping that.
Yeah, I'm thinking, but
So
you
I'm
taking,
losing $10,000 right there.
no, I'm thinking, let's agree
By
on the
giving
15.
that up.
And
I'm
I
giving
think
you
it's gonna be fair. 15,000 and you have what you wanna have.
would that be including the recipe? in it?
No.
Okay. So 15,000 would be for the assets and to lease the,
No. I'm gonna
For
have a replica
replica.
made of the
Yeah.
centerpiece.
right, but you needed to keep it
Yeah.
Until I get,
Yeah.
that
right.
shouldn't take long.
We
for
don't
that.
know, so let's agree on 15 and,
I
5,000, it's not
I
big
just can't,
amount for you.
I just can't do that. I mean, this came out of nowhere for me, Tina. Out of nowhere. I have to pay a huge amount of money to me. And 10,000 is really, I think is very fair.
What about you're gonna do, you pay 10,000 cash now and 5,000 in payments?
just don't think that that's a good. I
Okay,
think my offer is very fair. And I can't believe that after all this time, you're gonna hold me up over some cash.
And you have to understand, I need it to start the business.
And that's
cannot
why
start
that's
it
why I
without
offered
cash.
to buy you out.
okay. Let's caucus again, okay?
Well, may I just say, I don't have it. And so, you know, a lot of my credit is involved in this business and the loans I got, just as you did. But I can't borrow. I'm
You
already
can-
giving up our life savings for this because you're moving. And let me just say that I have to work hard, just like you do. To me, this is making us more than equal, Tina. You have 10,000 to start fresh. I'm starting out in the whole 10,000. It's just saying, it makes us,
You're not
I
starting
just don't have
anything
it.
because
I
you.
But
don't
let's look at what we've got here. If you'll be moving forward with everything that you now have except the recipe.
and $10,000
Right.
of cash of my life savings.
Right. Okay, so and you'll be starting with, the cash.
And the recipe.
Right, and the recipe.
And the centerpiece.
But nothing,
Because
but
I've given up everything.
But no established clients and no established reputation. So how much is the established reputation and the established clients?
We
How much is
didn't buy
really-
that. We built that up over years of hard
Right.
labor, both of us. And she's
Right.
gonna have to work, just like I'm gonna have to work. And you know the catering, you know, ma'am, because of your background, the catering business is all about reputation.
Yeah, and
Right.
you buying this reputation for 5,000 from me. Let's say like this.
We may be in a roadblock.
Okay.
Because I don't have
How
anything
make
else to give.
payment.
I
How
have
much
nothing else
is
to
the
give you.
reputation worth? When we started off, the reputation was built around the tea cake recipe and the centerpiece, right? Okay. You're willing to give up the recipe and make a copy of the centerpiece.
Right.
So really, the reputation is,
I'm giving up the recipe.
so,
And that's
right.
big. That's a big value.
it is.
She valued it very high. It's, I'm
So,
giving that up.
so is that really what the reputation is built on?
The reputation was built on our hard work.
Well, you're still gonna have that.
Yes, and she's gonna have $10,000, which I think is more than fair.
Okay, the company started with nothing, right? I mean, y'all started
Right.
working up from the ground.
That's right.
Okay, so your new company, you'll be starting off with some cash. How much is
Lot
that
more than we
cash?
started with.
Because if the value of the business goes down, the value of how much money you can get paid for your half goes down, the value of your reputation goes down. So that's what we're really looking at here is the reputation versus the cash startup. So how much are you willing to give in? How much are you willing to negotiate?
I feel like I'm the only one giving anything.
How is that? Explain what you mean by that.
I offered, half of this, the items is $7,500. And I offered to not use the recipe. I'm giving up. That's a big concession because it is, the people love the recipe and it is a big part. I'm willing to give that up. And that's a big thing I'm giving up, a big thing. And Tina knows that. I'm not gonna find one that's gonna be as good. And everyone here is gonna know it's not. But I'm giving that up because I can't afford to buy it. And on the centerpiece, I'm really taking all the expense, so that's more than my 10,000 because I'm gonna take on another 2,000, 3,000 to have one made, a lookalike, so that you can keep the one in your family. So I mean, I'm giving here. And I've given you my entire life savings, and I just don't
So
have
let's-
anything else to give.
Let's take a caucus now for a minute, okay? The dog's in the bedroom now.
You're talking with,
I need to caucus with Tina for a minute. And then we'll talk, okay?
Okay.
Tina. What gives your position, you're leaving, and I assume you're going anyway. Nothing that happens here is going to make you say, no, I'll just stay here with the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we talked about a little while ago was what assets you hold that give you some power to negotiate, right? And it was the recipe and the cake stand.
Mm-hmm.
She's already turned down the rest, she's willing to move forward without both of those things.
Mm-hmm.
You've lost your negotiating power.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so you need to look at that and see if you've got a place where you can get some more negotiating power, if you've got something else, or you need to try to bring your items that you have some negotiating power with back into the discussion. If you want to try to get more money, you need to offer her the recipe or the cake stand. You know, she turned them both down because the price was too high. You can't still, you're still, I understand that you would like to get a higher settlement for your half of the business. I'm just telling you that without those two items, you're in a poor negotiating spot. You've lost your power in that.
Okay, what about it's gonna be 15 with the recipe?
You'll just have to ask her. I mean, you'll just have to see how that goes. I think she's, the cake stand and the recipe, that's what the reputation is built on. And when you're buying a business, that's what you're buying, is the reputation.
Because I feel if she's making it, even the replica of the centerpiece, it's the same. Who else is gonna? But people's not gonna come and look. What is
Right.
this the old one or not? She's basically
Right.
she's keeping it for free.
Right.
You know.
And that's the thing, see, you own the item, but you don't own the design patent on the
Yeah.
item.
Yeah.
So you have no,
That's why I'm asking for 15. You know.
but you
because
don't have
she's-
any position that you can, you don't have any, you can't be coming to her place telling her, you can tell her that she can't have the item, but you can't tell her she can't have a lookalike. Because you don't own the design rights to it. And y'all did not trademark the,
Okay, then let's ask her. She's gonna make this replica, whatever, and she's gonna pay me 15, and she can use the rest.
you can ask her.
Yeah.
Okay. Sally. Oh, there you are, okay. Okay, so,
Well,
did you need to have a caucus with me privately?
no,
Okay,
I called my husband while I was out and told him where we're at. And as you can imagine, he's very unhappy about cleaning out his savings for this. But, and he's not willing to take out a loan to pay you any more than that. He said, if you're gonna stick with 15,000 that we just don't have, we'll have to just let the lawyers deal with it. I'm sorry. I wanted to work this out today.
What about you gonna pay me 15, 10 in cash and 5,000 in payments? You can choose the amount of payments. I don't care. It can be like, I don't know, 300 a month. And I know you can do that. And you're gonna keep the recipe. You can use the recipe.
I can't afford.
300 a month?
I can't afford to pay
is the
you.
recipe, the
The
recipe
recipe
is
is not
is,
worth $5,000 to me, no.
is there an amount it is worth?
The recipe? This would be a lot easier if I actually had the money.
Well, she's agreed already to take payments. And you do have an established business that's been operating in the black.
Yeah, giving you income every month.
So,
If you can sell for, I can give you $1,000 for the rest of it, which would be 11,000, but that is absolutely all I have. I
What
have
about
no more money,
13?
Tina.
What about 13?
I have no more money. That's it.
13, come on.
That's all I have. I'd have to get a divorce, Tina.
You know, okay, let's do 10,000, no recipe, and no replica.
What do you mean no replica?
Because I'm getting only 10,000.
I'm gonna pay to get a replica.
Yeah.
The
But people is not gonna know.
I'm
know,
giving you
you're gonna.
$2,500 over what we have as equity in this business already for that.
okay. Well, let me
That's
ask,
why I went to 10.
I understand, yeah. Let me ask you a question. So you're saying that you'll take 10,000 for your share of the business and all these assets if she doesn't use your recipe and you retain possession of your family heirloom?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're saying that you're willing to pay $10,000 for her share in the business, and you're willing to let her keep her family heirloom, and you're willing to go on without the recipe, right?
Yes, once I make a replica.
Do you actually need to have the piece to make a replica?
Well, I probably at least need to take it to the fabricator so that they can take measurements and pictures and
Okay.
get the dimensions, yes.
Well, I need to have a caucus with Sally now. Could you, could you just please wait in the waiting room for a minute? This piece is on your logo already, and you've been working with it for 8 years. You,
That's why I said I would make a replica, and I would pay for that on top of
Right.
it, and that's the
Right.
reason I went to
well,
10,000.
see, you have an agreement except for holding on to her heirloom.
No, I don't want to hold on to it, I just want to make a replica.
I know, but even for a limited
At my
amount of time.
expense.
So if if you could get a replica or a similar enough replica from just a description or a picture, you would have an
pictures.
agreement.
I have lots of pictures.
Well,
All right,
then you would have an agreement because
All right, I can't
you're
believe-
retaining all the,
but it's come to that, but if she'll take 10,000, we'll call it a deal today. I'm happy.
so that,
She can take all her family things with her.
okay, right. Because if you're retaining all of these, you're retaining the pictures are
Right.
included in all these assets, so.
Right.
Okay. Okay, Tina?
Oh, yeah, I'm coming.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we may have an agreement, if I understand you both correctly. Sally's willing to pay $10,000 for your interest in the business and all of the business assets, and you can retain your family heirloom and your recipe, and she agrees not to use your recipe.
Okay.
Okay?
And what about the replica?
The replica,
I'll use pictures, I'll just do the best I can. You know, if you're gonna be that way, and you won't even let me borrow it for a little while, I'll just take it with you. And we'll be done.
you can take immediate possession of your
Okay.
heirloom.
I agree with that.
Okay, so that's, good, that's 10,000, we have the list of property,
Mm-hmm.
we have the amount. Can we write up the agreement today, or would you like to consult with your attorneys first?
I'd like to get done with it today.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, well, let's write it up.